Merci beaucoup. Merci, Madame la mairesse, d'être venue. Merci, Mélanie, Madame la ministre de l'Industrie. Merci tout le monde ici à ce fleuron canadien, ce fleuron québécois. C'est un grand plaisir d'être ici, de retour à Montréal, d'être chez CAE, un chef de file canadien en défense qui fabrique ce dont le Canada et le monde a besoin. Ouais. Et il faut le dire, depuis des générations, les travailleurs qualifiés du Québec soutiennent les industries qui assurent la sécurité et la prospérité du Canada. Les Québécois et Québécoises savent ce que signifie construire les choses qui comptent. Le travail que vous faites ici soutient nos familles. Il renforce nos communautés. Il défend notre nation. Et nous sommes ici aujourd'hui pour renforcer cette tradition. Canada's new government was elected with a clear mandate to make Canada stronger, more resilient, and more independent. We're pursuing that on every front, building affordable housing at rates not seen in generations, creating one Canadian economy, realizing Canada's full potential as an energy superpower, and striking new international agreements with reliable partners. None of these goals will come easily. All will require ambition, collaboration, and, on occasion, sacrifice. But Canadians are up for it. We know, as Melanie just said, we know that the world has changed and that Canada must change with it. Les présomptions qui ont défini des décennies de politique canadienne en matière de défense et d'affaires étrangères ont été chamboulées. Les menaces auxquelles nous faisons face sont nombreuses et se multiplient. Des incursions dans notre Arctique aux attaques visant notre cyberespace. La nature de la guerre elle-même est en rapide changement, poussée par la prolifération des drones, de systèmes autonomes et d'armes en orbite. Les théâtres de potentiels conflits se sont rapprochés de nos frontières. Dans un monde plus divisé et dangereux, le leadership canadien se définira non seulement par la force de nos valeurs, mais aussi par la valeur de notre force. Et cette force doit être ciblée, renforcée et surtout canadienne. C'est pourquoi, immédiatement après les élections, le nouveau gouvernement du Canada s'est lancé dans une mission ambitieuse visant à reconstruire nos forces armées, à les réarmer et à y réinvestir. We're now on track to meet our 2% NATO target by this spring, a full decade ahead of the previous schedule. Recruitment to the Canadian Armed Forces is up by 13% since June. We've signed a series of new defense and security partnerships with allies who share our interests, who share our values and our history. And that includes the landmark SAFE agreement with the EU that the Minister of National Defense, still have your pen, that he signed with the European Union last week. Crucially, we have committed to double our defense expenditures by the end of this decade. And that amounts to an additional $80 billion over the next 5 years. In addition, as part of our NATO commitments, we will invest an additional $45 billion per year on domestic resilience, yielding both security and economic benefits. In total, over the next decade, Canada will invest $180 billion directly in defense procurement, $290 billion in defense and security-related infrastructure, and create over $125 billion in additional downstream economic benefits. L'ampleur de ces engagements témoigne de la gravité des nouvelles menaces auxquelles nous sommes confrontés. Il crée également d'énormes possibilités économiques. L'industrie canadienne de la défense emploie déjà plus de 80 000 Canadiens directement et beaucoup plus indirectement. Et il est impératif de maximiser le rendement de ces investissements de plus de 500 milliards de dollars pour renforcer notre sécurité, accroître nos emplois et notre prospérité et protéger notre souveraineté. Defending Canada means more than just increasing the size of our military. It also means the strength of our industries, the resilience of our economy, and our capacity to act independently when it matters the most. Our national security and our economic security go hand in hand. To those ends, as the Minister mentioned, we are announcing Canada's first ever defense industrial strategy. It's a bold plan to get our armed forces what they need when they need it. It's a bold plan to scale Canadian defense companies and to put hundreds of billions of dollars into strategic sectors of our economy while creating over 125,000 high-paying jobs across Canada. Its framework is simple: build, partner, buy. First, we will build in Canada and prioritize Canadian companies. As a matter of policy, military procurement in areas where we have sovereign capabilities will be directed to Canadian firms first. Where we can't build alone, we will partner with like-minded allies, helping to attract investment, transfer intellectual property, and integrate supply chains so that public dollars flow back to Canada and Canadian jobs created right here. And only after exhausting those first two options will we buy from abroad. Even then, we will ensure the maximum benefits are returned to Canada throughout the value chain, including through a modernized industrial and technological benefits regime. The centerpiece of our new approach is the Defense Investment Agency, or DIA. The DIA will streamline and speed procurement. It'll cut red tape, and it'll expand domestic production. It has three fundamental objectives. First, to protect Canada's sovereignty, particularly in the Arctic, by ensuring our women and men in uniform have the tools they need to defend our country. Secondly, the DIA will work to build Canadian prosperity. And thirdly, we'll work to strengthen Canada's strategic autonomy, which means our ability to act independently in a more dangerous world. We start by defending Canadians. And the truth is, over the last few decades, Canada has neither spent enough on our defense nor invested enough in our defense industries. We've relied too heavily on our geography and others to protect us. And this has created vulnerabilities that we can no longer afford and dependencies that we can no longer sustain. Alors, les processus d'approvisionnement du gouvernement sont trop longs, trop fragmentés et trop réactifs. Pour de nombreuses entreprises canadiennes, il est plus facile de vendre à des gouvernements étrangers qu'aux nôtres. Le processus actuel renforce notre dépendance aux fournisseurs étrangers et affaiblit les entreprises que nous devrions plutôt rendre plus fortes. Nous avons pris de nouveaux engagements importants en matière de défense. nous devons faire du même en ce qui concerne nos dépenses. Our Canadian Armed Forces will be backed by a resilient Canadian Defence Industrial Base. Every dollar will be spent to maximize jobs, careers, and industries right here in Canada. As I mentioned earlier, we'll start by concentrating on those sovereign capabilities that are critical to our ability to defend our country. These are areas where we're already strong or where we have the potential to lead. The obvious example, we're in the middle of it. Quebec and Canada have proven strengths in aircraft engines, parts, simulation. With CAE, we are the world leader in training and simulation. You are the world leaders in training and simulation. Bravo. Bravo à vous. Across Canada, we have other strengths. We produce world-class combat vehicles, munitions, and naval vessels. Et par ailleurs, le Canada développe son leadership dans des domaines qui deviendront de plus en plus essentiels à la défense, notamment l'espace, l'intelligence artificielle, la cybersécurité, la technologie quantique, les contre-mesures médicales, la robotique et les drones. Le renforcement de nos capacités souveraines et les emplois de qualité qui en découlent nécessitera divers utiles, dont notre volonté d'acheter canadien dans la mesure du possible. Our strategy rests on 5 pillars. First, renewing our relationship with industry by providing clear long-term demand signals. Secondly, procuring strategically with greater efficiency through that build, partner, buy strategy. Third, investing in innovation and workforce development. Fourth, securing supply chains. And finally, working with domestic partners, including in Canada's north. The details of these strategies are outlined in the strategy document we're releasing today, but I want to touch on one aspect that matters particularly for our long-term competitiveness and is directly relevant to the activities of CAE. This company knows that our defense sector is research intensive. It's 3 times more R&D intensive than Canadian manufacturing overall. And history shows that defense spending catalyzes innovation far beyond the sector itself. Globally, there's examples, computing, GPS, powerful cameras in our phones, all emerge from defense investment. We are going to boost government investment in defense-related research and development by 85% to help develop the next generation of capabilities in AI, in quantum, in robotics, and autonomous systems. I think we can see examples of that all around us. In part to do that, we're creating a new Bureau of Research, Engineering, and Advanced Leadership, Borealis, to coordinate and accelerate defense research and innovation in frontier technologies like quantum and AI. En somme, nos principaux objectifs consistent à augmenter les revenus du secteur canadien de la défense de plus de 220%, nos exportations dans ce domaine de 50% et à créer 125 000 nouveaux emplois directement liés au secteur de la défense. Et pour les PME, la stratégie vise une augmentation annuelle des revenus tirés de la défense de 2,8 milliards de dollars pour atteindre 4,5 milliards. Ces avantages directs auront des répercussions positives sur l'ensemble de notre économie. Chaque emploi créé signifie un Canadien ou un Canadien de plus qui bénéficiera d'une plus grande sécurité. Une famille qui se sentira moins inquiète pour l'avenir. Une économie locale qui pourra subvenir à ses besoins et offrir des possibilités à la prochaine génération. Ultimately, this strategy is about protecting Canada's sovereignty in its fullest sense. In other words, our ability to act independently in that more dangerous and divided world. And to be clear, this strategic autonomy doesn't mean isolation. It means being strong enough to be a partner of choice rather than a dependent. It means building a domestic defense industrial base so we are never hostage to the decisions of others when it comes to our security. It means diversifying our partnerships so that we're resilient against any single point of failure. And that's why the build, partner, buy framework at the heart of this strategy matters so much. When we build at home, we develop our sovereign capabilities in aerospace, digital systems, naval construction, space. Those capabilities that ensure that Canada can defend itself under any circumstance. When we partner with trusted allies in Europe, the United Kingdom, the Indo-Pacific, we access capabilities and technologies that strengthen us both. By diversifying these partnerships, we reduce our exposure to any single alliance or any single decision that we don't control. And defense depends on complex supply chains, from critical minerals to specialized components. Accordingly, we're launching the Canadian Defense Industry Resilience Program to secure key supply chains for our armed forces. Nous augmenterons la production, la transformation et le stockage des minéraux critiques pour la défense. Et nous coordonnerons notre action avec nos alliés dans le cadre de l'Alliance de G7 sur la production de minéraux critiques et des efforts de stockage de l'OTAN, car l'autonomie stratégique se renforce grâce à des partenariats judicieux. Un pays souverain peut se défendre et dispose d'industries locales s'il soutient sa défense et sa qualité de vie. Un pays libre peut agir de manière autonome en faisant ce qui est le mieux pour son peuple, en faisant passer ses intérêts, ses emplois et ses aspirations avant tout le reste. C'est le Canada que nous bâtissons. So to conclude, Canada's new government came to office with a clear mandate to build a stronger, more resilient, more independent country. And today's defense industrial strategy is central to that mission. With this strategy, we'll strengthen Canadian security, ensuring our women and men in uniform have everything they need to defend our country. Nous bâtirons la prospérité du Canada en créant des emplois bien rémunérés, en stimulant la recherche et le développement, en favorisant la croissance d'entreprises canadiennes de calibre mondial et en veillant à ce que les communautés partout au pays profitent des retombées des investissements dans le secteur. In this century, the work of defending Canada is the work of building Canada. Security and prosperity aren't competing priorities. They're mutually reinforcing foundations of the true North, strong and free. They are the foundations of Canada strong. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.